What's up, everybody? It's Make It Make Sense, and today we have lost a prolific writer, entertainer, performer in D'Angelo. He was actually one of the first people to make neo soul go mainstream. So, like the video's intro plays, we got a lot to discuss today.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. I want to make it make
Make it make sense. That's all. 1 and 1 got to equal 2.
Make it make sense, boo. Big moves. Surfer.
Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dream. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dream. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense.
Trying to run. She can't run. Now who can't run? Now who can't run? Who can't run? Yeah.
Okay, guys. So before we even get into the announcement, I can personally remember because I grew up with everybody in my life was like older than me. So Erykah Badu, D'Angelo's first studio album, songs are on repeat, not only in the household but also on the radio at the time. Lady, Brown Sugar, but of course TMZ broke the story. D'Angelo, Grammy-winning icon, dead at 51. Grammy-winning R&B soul singer D'Angelo is dead from pancreatic cancer, TMZ has learned. The Brown Sugar songwriter died Tuesday morning in NYC, according to sources connected to his family and his former manager, Kadar Massingberg. D'Angelo was a singular talent who collaborated with the likes of Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, and Q-Tip. Most notably, they didn't put this in here, but Lauryn Hill, after bursting onto the scene in 1995 with his solo debut album, Brown Sugar. He won 4 Grammys, including Best R&B Album for Voodoo. Now, the ladies in here are the ones who's probably gushing over Voodoo because that's where he was naked in the untitled song. Little known fact about D'Angelo that a lot of you may not have known, that was not his shtick. Even though D'Angelo was known for, his body and his abs and all of that kind of stuff, that really wasn't who he was at the core. So I have heard. Yeah, it's amazing how the industry will repackage somebody. D'Angelo never had to take his clothes off because D'Angelo was extremely talented. He was extremely talented. He was one of the first people to put neo soul on the map, arguably. Not the first in the genre, but he was one of the first to make it mainstream. Like, I've never heard anybody talk about anything lacking in D'Angelo's talent. But yes, the industry packaged him as that. And, and as a result, he didn't trust the industry. He won 4 Grammys, including Best R&B Album for Voodoo in 2001 and Black Messiah in 2016. He also won Best R&B Song in 2016 for Really Love and Best Male R&B Vocal Performance for Untitled How Does It Feel. Even before the Grammy win, How Does It Feel left an indelible imprint on music and the minds of schoolgirls everywhere for its iconic video, which featured the singer alone against a blank black background, appearing to be fully unclothed. Last year, Raphael Sadiq told the Rolling Stone Music Now podcast D'Angelo was working on releasing a new album, saying he's excited. He's working on 6 pieces right now, and he seems super excited. Yeah. I feel this was unexpected. 51 is extremely young. The singer is survived by 2 sons and a daughter. The mother of his first son was singer Angie Stone, who died tragically this year in a car accident. D'Angelo was 51. I definitely appreciated D'Angelo's music and Angie Stone's music. But again, the veil just keeps getting lifted. You would have never thought that that wasn't his idea, but he definitely was packaged and sexualized at a very young age when he was new to the industry. They just said, black man, we're going to fetishize him, but his music is what has made an imprint and an impact. All you have to do is say D'Angelo and you know who he is. That first album came out 30 years ago. 30 years ago. So, you know, rest in peace, D'Angelo. I wanted to show some of you guys might know some of his 20 best songs. Let's see. Jones in My Bones from the first album, Chicken Grease, The Charade from 2014, Africa from 2000's album, Voodoo, Prayer, Nothing Even Matters. I'm sure a lot of you guys know that. His collaboration with Lauryn Hill on probably one of the best bodies of work ever created. Nothing Even Matters, Spanish Joint, Lady, one of my favorites from his first album, Sugar Daddy from his last album, The Line, Smooth, Really Love, Send It On, Be Here, Untitled, a lot of y'all's favorites, One More Going, Till It's Done, The Root, and my favorite, Brown Sugar. Yeah, used to be on repeat. So prayers up to D'Angelo, prayers up to especially the son that he shared with Angie Stone. This guy has lost his mom and dad in the same year. Caribbean Gal may rest in peace with Angie. So sad, absolutely. And the How Does It Feel music video was iconic. I'm sure you did like it, Caribbean Gal. Yeah. He passed from pancreatic cancer. Now this video, guys, I heard this morning, and then I looked up the court records. We're talking Michael Jackson. New court documents reveal that all 5 Casio children were abused by Michael. This is allegedly. Court documents filed earlier this month, obtained by the Daily Mail UK on Sunday, dropped bombshells about the accusation against Michael Jackson by the 5 Casio siblings. The filing is in opposition to Michael Jackson's estate's attempt to force the 5 into arbitration, citing an earlier NDA signed in 2020 that stated that they would never speak about their experiences with Michael Jackson. Payments were shelled out to the 5 over a period of 5 years. The NDA was hidden under a life rights agreement. Within the documents obtained by the Daily Mail are accusations of grooming, sexually abusing, and brainwashing all of the children. The Casio siblings. So Michael Jackson met this man who worked at a hotel. He managed a hotel. Michael befriended him and then became like a member of the family. Michael used to refer to them as his second family. Yes, Diane Keaton passed away this week as well. Jackson met Frank and Eddie Casio when they were little, only 4 and 3 years of age. He became part of their family to the point where they all thought of him as just another relative and was a constant fixture in their lives. He hired Frank as his assistant at 18 years old. According to the documents, each of the 5 siblings believed that they were the only one who had this close relationship with Michael. They did not have any inkling their siblings were also being abused by Jackson. In 2019, the Casillo siblings saw Leaving Neverland, which led to the traumatic realization that each of them were abused as children into adulthood by their famous family friend. Many of those doubting the allegations on social media are bringing up Frank's novel, My Friend Michael, and his insistence that Michael was innocent in 2003 and 2005. Now, that is interesting. You actually wrote a book about Michael Jackson being innocent of... Sorry, let me take this off. About Michael Jackson being innocent of abusing another child. Sorry. I'm sorry. These are the... I thought it was shared. That's the Casillo family. And his insistence that Michael was innocent in 2003 to 2005, Frank Casillo even tweeted against Wade Robinson prior to viewing the harrowing documentary himself. Casillo terminated all of his social media accounts shortly after Leaving Neverland was released. In transcripts for the 2005 Gavin Arvizo trial, Gavin and his brother confirmed that Michael would say horrible things to her, such as, "You are so fine. I want to F you in the back." Okay, good. Now, were there any incidents where you were in a room, in Michael Jackson's room, and had discussions with blank? Oh, yes. And that was like the night that my brother was acting funny, and like she blank, it was kind of weird. Michael's packing his bags, and then I walked in, and John was sitting down. This was before he walked out acting funny, and I think so. And like Michael was like, "Oh, you look so fine. I want to blank." He was saying this to blank blank. "Oh, you look so fine. I want to F you in the back. How old is blank blank?" Frank and Eddie were tour companions for Jackson on the Dangerous tour after the allegations from Jordan Chandler in 1993. This emotional manipulation was designed to secure each family member's loyalty and ensure their silence, making them feel indebted to Michael and isolated from any source of protection or perspective. Through the years of psychological conditioning, Michael cultivated dependence and fear in the Casillos, making respondents believe they had no choice but to comply and no safe way to break free. The effects of this conditioning persisted into adulthood, leaving respondents with a deeply ingrained belief that speaking out would constitute betrayal, a dynamic the estate has continued to exploit in the dealings with them. The documents go on to detail that the Jackson estate took advantage of the traumatized individuals and their shock of finding out all of their siblings were abused to coerce them into an agreement that Frank Casillo's legal team says is unlawful. Now, that's the dad. So these are the actual allegations. Let's see. From the early 1980s until at least 2009, Michael Jackson had intimate contact with the Casillo children. This abusive contact occurred over a span of decades and involved hundreds of instances. Each of the Casillo children were groomed, brainwashed, and severely manipulated to believe that each was uniquely special to Michael and that their relationship with him was exclusive. This deliberate emotional manipulation was designed to secure each family member's loyalty and to ensure their silence, making them feel indebted to Michael and isolated from any source of protection. Through the years of psychological conditioning, Michael cultivated dependence and fear in the young Casillos, making respondents believe that they had no choice but to comply and no safe way to break free. The effects of this conditioning persisted into adulthood, leaving respondents with a deeply ingrained belief that speaking out would constitute betrayal, a dynamic the estate has continued to exploit in its dealings with him. In 2019, following the release of the documentary Leaving Neverland, exploiting the same patterns of trust, fear, and conditional loyalty that Michael Jackson had cultivated for decades, the estates manipulated respondents' emotional state to extract their silence through coercive and deceptive means. The rush process was intended to, and in fact, take advantage of Casillo siblings' shock and trauma upon realizing this had happened to all of them, unbeknownst to each other and contrary to what they had been told. During this vulnerable time and before the Casillos could fully process what happened to them, the estate exploited their confusion and vulnerability by pressuring them into an unfavorable agreement misrepresenting both the nature of their rights and the consequences of refusal. For instance, the state disguised the settlement as a life rights agreement. This sham characterization was a last-minute device calculated to mislead respondents. Okay, so let's stop there. So, life rights. If you remember, 50 Cent's baby mom, not the one that uh 50 Cent's baby mother of his first child sold her life rights to 50 Cents. Now that she's choosing to come forward, 50 Cent is suing her and anybody who reports what she's saying because he has the rights to her life. She can now never come out in a public forum and tell what quote unquote did or did not happen to her in the relationship, especially as it involves alleged abuse. So what they are saying is they were paid, or there was an agreement on the table to pay them millions of dollars so that their life rights would never see the light of day. This was dating back to 2020 is what they're alleging. This sham characterization was a last-minute device calculated to mislead respondents, the probate court, and the estate's beneficiaries, and constituted a bad faith misrepresentation designed to conceal the true nature of the deal and deprive them of knowledge of the settlement. To further this scheme, the estate caused the creation of various new corporations through which payments would be funneled to the 5 Casillo children. Now, people can believe what they want to believe. Some might say if they believe that Michael is incapable of doing these things, that maybe the estates just did not want any stories getting out. They're saying specifically that all the stories of alleged abuse is what the estate is trying to hide. Now, what's interesting is this is all happening after Michael Jackson's mom is gone. Michael Jackson's mom was the one who played no games. These children, Blanket, the girl who says she's black, who knows what's going on with them? Paris, the girl, is about to marry a broke dude with no prenup. So one could argue that after Catherine is now gone, people might come out of the woodwork because Catherine held everything in a tight grip. Yes, didn't Catherine pass away? Catherine Jackson. Yeah, she died in 2018, right? Yeah. Oh, Joe died. Catherine is still alive? Let me look. Hold on. Is Michael Jackson's mom still alive? Oh, so what did I hear about her? Hold on. You guys can put in the comments. Something happened with her health a couple years ago. Let me see. Catherine Jackson health. It just says she's ill. Suffers stroke. And she suffered a stroke in 2022 that has impacted her ability to see and hear properly. Okay. So, I definitely retract that. She is not passed away. She just had a stroke a few years ago and her hearing and vision are impacted. Yes, I definitely take that one back. Okay. Let's get back. For instance, the state disguised the settlement as a life rights agreement. This sham characterization was a last-minute device calculated to mislead respondents, the probate court, and the state's beneficiaries, and constituted a bad-faith misrepresentation designed to conceal the true nature of the deal and deprive them of knowledge of the settlement. To further the scheme, the state caused the creation of various new corporations through which payments would be funneled to the 5 Casillo children. The state also discouraged the Casillos from seeking independent legal advice, ensuring that the process was concluded swiftly and without meaningful opportunity for informed consent. By structuring the negotiations in this manner, the state sought to obtain broad releases and waivers under coercive circumstances, effectively silencing the Casillos while shielding itself from accountability. These tactics were designed not to provide fair redress, but to suppress potential claims and protect the state's financial and reputational interests at the expense of the Casillos' rights and well-being. On or about December 22nd, 2019, a representative employed by attorneys for the state flew to New Jersey to meet with the Casillos, where he read a purported settlement agreement aloud to them. All of the Casillo siblings were manipulated and coerced into signing the agreement at the time it was presented to them. Frank, who was out of town during the meeting in New Jersey, was presented with and signed the agreement on or around January 10, 2020. At the time the Casillos entered into the agreement, they were not provided the opportunity to consult with an attorney. When they asked about retaining their own counsel, the estate advised them that the agreement would not get done if they did that. As a result, the Casillos did not understand much of the agreement which they signed, much less their legal rights. None of the Casillos were provided with a copy of the executed agreement. They were later advised that the agreement is invalid and unenforceable under state law as against public policy. I kind of want to see what you guys are saying. She lost control. Despite this, petitioners filed a petition in open court making public extensive details about the purported confidential agreement, including excerpts and summaries. The content of her prior confidential negotiations and communications, alleged settlement demands, and alleged statements made during mediation or pre-litigation settlement discussions. Y'all, I don't know. I don't put anything past anybody, but it is very strange that you not only wrote a book saying that Michael Jackson did not do anything to violate the boy from 93, didn't do anything to violate the boy who made accusations from 2003 to 2005. And then when somebody came forward in the late 2010s, you actively called them a liar on social media, only to 5 years later come out and allege that Michael is now a predator, and specifically a predator for you and all of your siblings. If Leaving Neverland was the catalyst to kind of bring back your alleged memories of abuse, then why would you tweet or do any social media posts suggesting that that boy is a liar? I mean, there's so many like twists to this. The fact that the estate is willing to settle with the family for millions and buy their rights is curious. But to go so far as to write a book saying your abuser is not abusing other children while alleging that at the time they were abusing you, that's going to be a tough sell in court. I mean, I wasn't there. I can't say that the people are lying. I'm just looking at the facts of what's out there. And then I'm thinking about Gina with Diddy. Gina said that the man had beat her and then came back and said she was never abused. So, stranger things. I can't at this point. Like I said, I can't put anything past anybody Rest in peace, praying for their son and family. Again, yes, D'Angelo has passed away at the age of 51. If you're just coming in from pancreatic cancer, he has 2 children. The son that he shares with Angie Stone lost both D'Angelo today and Angela Stone this year. So I'm pretty sure he is struggling right now. So if you want to lift him up, love the fit today. Rest in peace, D'Angelo, Diane Keaton, MJ. These stories will never stop. I have questions, and this is just the factual allegations for them to end arbitration so they can actually do a civil lawsuit. So what we're hearing is just scratching the surface. I will follow this, but there's going to be more. If the arbitration, is released and these people can file civil lawsuits, all of the sexual abuse allegations will be brought to the public. Mims and Struders, I love all your family. Oh, well, thank you, Bonnie. I appreciate that. We don't know. We got to hold back. I'm personally going to hold back judgment. I do think that some of these things sound a little strange, but you never know. We'll see once everything gets released. No, Gina said I was never a victim. She specifically said I was never a victim of Diddy. She didn't specify whether it was domestic violence or trafficking or any of that. Hey, Callie, nice to see you, friend. Yeah. So let's get into this Jeffrey Epstein stuff, y'all. I told y'all I'm going to be following this, and we got new images, and it is insane what was going on in this cell.
2019. There are dozens of photos taken by the medical examiner's office that
First off, why are there 50 orange jumpsuits readily available to this man in his cell? Why would somebody who we have now found out, quote unquote, allegedly attempted to take his own life earlier when he first was arrested, which he claims it was actually his roommate tried to take him out. Why would he be allowed to have all of these jumpsuits? That seems like a lot for somebody who, quote unquote, is on unalive watch. Y'all if we're talking elites, Jeffrey Epstein knew way too much. Think about it. If somebody has already, quote unquote, attempted to take their own life in jail, and he's already in something where he's being monitored all the time, why would they allow you to have things like all of these jumpsuits? And if you look really closely, at the front of the picture, like basically level with the toilet, you will see a sleep apnea machine. Why would they allow somebody to have a cord of some sort if he had already attempted to take his own life? And you have access to a cord, but you're using prison jumpsuits.
day. On the floor, a mattress and piles of sheets. Several nooses that appear to be fashioned from the orange bed linens are laid out. His medicines photographed, but no body.
Is there a photograph of when he was found dead in the cell?
No, there's no photograph taken of Mr.
In what world would probably the most high-profile criminal you have, why would there not be photos of the body? Jeffrey Epstein was, I think, 6 feet.
Epstein in the cell.
Dr. Michael Baden observed the 4-hour autopsy for Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark. Baden, a renowned forensic pathologist who's taken controversial positions, approximately 6:33 a.m., and sources say one of them could be overheard saying, "Breathe, Epstein, breathe." Epstein at approximately...
We're still haven't gotten all the information.
Guards found Epstein at approximately 6:33 a.m., And sources say one of them could be overheard saying, "Breathe, Epstein, breathe."
I thought at the time.
Dr. Bodden believes, based on the autopsy, that Epstein died around 4:30 that morning, 2 hours earlier. Protect.
The man has been gone for 2 hours. They're telling him, breathe, breathe. He's been gone for 2 hours. There are things that happen to one's body after you have been gone for 2 hours.
As any crime scene in which a death has occurred. 60 Minutes reviewed hundreds of graphic photographs and hang himself from the lower bunk. We don't know. These are the known facts. On July 6th, Jeffrey Epstein was booked into the Metropolitan Correctional Center, or MCC, in downtown Manhattan, a federal high-security holding facility for inmates awaiting trial around his neck. Epstein claimed his cellmate, Nick Tartaglione, attacked him.
Epstein says that Nick tried to kill him. Nick says absolutely nothing like that happened.
It's not just Nick says absolutely nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened. No one says that Nick tried to kill Epstein.
Epstein,
that was Nick's attorney,
was moved to the psych unit and placed on suicide watch. But 1 week later, Epstein, at the direction of the MCC's psychological staff, was taken off suicide watch and required to have an assigned cellmate.
This was a monumental failure on all levels, and that's why it has fueled the conspiracies, and I understand that.
Cameron Lindsay is a former federal prison warden.
Who should have made sure that he wasn't taken off suicide watch, in your opinion?
The leadership of the facility should have stepped in and said, while I appreciate the perspective of you, chief psychologist, I'm going to override that decision, and we're going to leave Epstein on suicide watch, especially
He's coming in and saying, my roommate just tried to take me out. You're saying after 1 week of being in the psych ward, send him back out and just give him another roommate?
Went to the suicide attempt that he had.
Epstein was moved back to the SHU and assigned a new cellmate. We reviewed photos and interviewed jail employees to create this composite of the area. Each tier of the SHU has 8 cells, usually with 2 inmates per cell. Covington is the president of the union that represents the guards, who both now face criminal charges and have pleaded not guilty.
I absolutely believe that these staff members are being made a scapegoat.
Because it was Jeffrey Epstein?
Because it was Jeffrey Epstein.
They, at the very least, were not doing their job when you have 2, 3, 4, 5 hours where people are not being monitored. Your job as a night guard is to monitor the inmates throughout the night. That did not happen. Let me see. I think I heard something about them having high-powered attorneys. Let's see. In November 2019, Noel and Thomas, the 2 guards, were indicted for falsifying records to conceal that they had neglected their duty to check on inmates, including Epstein. Their lawyers argued that the guards were being scapegoated for larger issues at the Metropolitan Correctional Center, the MCC in Manhattan, where Epstein died. The legal defense cited severe staffing shortages and the resulting excessive overtime shifts that Noel and Thomas were forced to work. They stated that his client had provided investigators with truthful insight into the toxic culture, subpar training, staffing shortages, and dysfunctional management of the MCC. Noel and Thomas reached a deferred prosecution agreement with federal prosecutors. Under the terms of the agreement, they admitted to falsifying records and agreed to complete 100 hours of community service. The judge dropped charges against them after prosecutors confirmed that the guards had complied with the terms of the deal.
Covington doesn't think there was any foul play, and he says there should be surveillance video to prove it. In November, Attorney General William Barr told reporters he personally reviewed surveillance video that showed nobody entered the area where Epstein was held.
Problem, we now know that Attorney General Barr, prior to Epstein getting arrested the second time, was on his calendar. Epstein was taking meetings with Barr. Epstein was taking meetings with Barr, and Epstein was taking meetings with somebody else who's in the current administration. Let's see. Who was the other person? You guys can put it in the chat. There's so much new information coming out. But I don't think that Barr can be trusted if you were on his calendar to have meetings. Let's see.
But sources say a second camera inside the tier, the one that could have seen Epstein's cell door and the doors of other inmates, was not working that night.
The theories that are out there, one of them is that it was another inmate who may have killed Jeffrey Epstein.
Come on.
You can see a long electrical cord.
Yes, there were other wires and cords present that it would have been easy to use to hang oneself within a few minutes.
But the key reason Dr. Bodden thinks Jeffrey Epstein's death might be a homicide is because of the unusual fractures he saw in Epstein's neck.
There were fractures of the left, the right thyroid cartilage, and the left hyoid bone.
This is an autopsy photo of Epstein's broken hyoid bone, a U-shaped bone that sits under the jaw that part of the tongue attaches to. The thyroid cartilage sits at the front of the neck.
I have never seen 3 fractures like this in a suicidal hanging. Sometimes there's a fracture of the hyoid bone or a fracture of the thyroid cartilage.
But not 3.
Very unusual to have 2 and not 3. And going over 1,000 jail hangings, suicides in the New York City state prisons over the past 40, 50 years, no one had 3 fractures.
The New York City Medical Examiner's Office disputes Bodden's theory, saying that fractures of the hyoid bone and cartilage can be seen in suicides and homicides.
Keep in mind that particular prison had not had a suicide for 14. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that word, but had an unaliving for like 14 years.
And they stand firmly behind their finding of suicide by hanging. Then there's the 2 nooses. This was the one that was sketched and included in the autopsy by the medical examiner, presumably because they thought it was used in Epstein's death. But Dr. Bodden says that noose and the wounds on Jeffrey Epstein's neck don't appear to match.
What do you see when you see these 2 things together?
What I see here is that this noose doesn't match the ligature furrow mark. It's wider than this.
To the naked eye, it looks like there's some blood here, and it doesn't look like there's any blood on this noose.
That's right.
Y'all, it's smelling like a cover up. It's smelling like a cover up.
This looks like a clean noose that was never used to compress anybody's neck.
There's also something that's striking about the photos. The wound is down here. You'd think if somebody hung themselves, the wound would be maybe up here.
Yes. Most hangings, especially free hangings, the ligature slides up to beneath the jawbone, the mandible. Here it's in the middle of the neck.
Dr. Bodden says a wound straight across the neck is more common when a victim is strangled by a wire or cord. He and Epstein's brother Mark met with the government and asked.
And again, there was no photos taken. Again, the guards were indicted for lying and concealing. What are they trying to cover up? And other quick news, the Clintons were supposed to be at the House Oversight Committee to testify about Epstein. They have canceled for now. In terms of what they're supposed to be doing there, what? He was president from 92 to what, like 2000? Sure, if Bill Clinton has something or if there's any findings about him, take him down too. But that's all smoke and mirrors because we have people in the current administration who were meeting with this man. Oh, it was Musk. It was Elon Musk and Barr before he got caught again. We're supposed to be meeting with Epstein. They were on Epstein's calendars. And doesn't that sound like a issue if one of the people who's on the calendars, who knows the elite pedo, is now one of the lead investigators into his death? So, they said, I thought Clinton was on, where were we? GMAC fax memes. Thank you for the super chat. Angela, medication bottles wouldn't be in a cell. HRC. Everyone knows he didn't unalive himself. That man is the OG of finding out how you passed. It was a ban-in. I read somewhere that Ghislaine said that he never went to the island. We have so much to cover. I'm like inundated with like stories. So thank you guys for being here. I will definitely keep you guys informed. Like the video on your way out. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. We go from very deep topics to topics like this to mess. So if you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe. I will see you guys later. Have a good one.